Hello, everyone. It seems like we had a little bit of an issue today with the with logging in with the class link. We're going to still do the hour class, but we're going to extend it to for the full hour. So just be aware. Thank you for waiting. Let's go ahead and begin. Just give me a one in the chat room to let me know that you can hear me okay. Perfect. Excellent. All right, so welcome to our Sunday, July 12th, 2026 writing reading class. Hope you had a good week. We're going to start off with our quote, some expansion on that. We'll get into our reading with a quiz. We'll do our vocabulary. We'll work with some rules for good writing and then introduce a new book as well. Ethan, can you read the quote over on the left side?
To realize our dreams, we must decide to wake up.
I'm sorry, one more time. Ethan?
To realize our dreams, we must decide to wake up.
Excellent. So who can explain this quote? What do they mean by that? To realize our dreams, we must wake up. Alice, any thoughts?
Mm, no.
So we oftentimes think about dreams. When we think about dreams, what are dreams? There's a couple of different meanings when we think about dreams. Ethan?
Like maybe thinking of something very big, and then if you want to, like, wake up, like here, like you want to wake up, you need to know what's happening, like really happening, so you need to know that. You
What
shouldn't just daydream.
now when you said big, what you're talking about, what do you mean by big? Dreams are
Like
big.
maybe something very hard and like maybe you can't do that, but
Okay.
yeah.
So you're talking about something that you want to accomplish. Okay, good. Yes, exactly. So when we think of dreams, it's not just when we are sleeping, it's about something that we hope to accomplish. Now, what is the idea of waking up? If you have something that you want to accomplish and you have this idea of waking up, what is that? Alice? What would be the,
Um, um, it's like you don't need to really wake up, but like it means the same as wake up.
no, not quite. Ethan, any ideas?
Know what's happening and like see the real world.
What do you mean by that?
Like maybe if you want to accomplish them, you shouldn't just imagine. You should do something.
Okay. So there's some action that needs to happen. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of the idea here. So the idea of waking up is realizing that just because it's a dream, just because it's something that you want to accomplish, doesn't mean it's going to happen. You have to actually take steps in order for it to happen. You have to make plans. You have to assess situations and see if this is possible or how you're going to make it possible. And that's the sense of waking up. The waking up part is realizing, okay, in reality, dreams are not going to just happen. They're going to have to be, you're going to have to do something in order for them to happen. Very good. Well, this quote was all by an artist known by Josephine Baker. Josephine Baker, we're going to learn today about, she had a very interesting life as she faced some experiences that shaped her decisions in life of what she decided to do. Follow along as I read. In 1925, at the peak of France's obsession with American jazz and all things exotic, Baker traveled to Paris to perform in La Rue des Nègres at the Théâtre des Champs-Élysées. However, it was the following year at the Folies Bergère Music Hall, one of the most popular of the era, that Baker's career would reach a major turning point. In a performance called La Folie du Jour, Baker danced wearing a skirt made of 16 bananas. The show was wildly popular with Parisian audiences, and Baker was soon among the most popular and highest paid performers in Europe, receiving more than 1,000 marriage proposals. She adopted 12 children in all, creating what she referred to as her rainbow tribe and her experiment in brotherhood. She often invited people to the estate to see these children to demonstrate that people of different races could, in fact, live together harmoniously. During the 1950s, Baker frequently returned to the United States to lend her support to the civil rights movement, participating in demonstrations and boycotting segregated clubs and concert venues. After decades of rejection by her countrymen and a lifetime spent dealing with racism, in 1973, Baker performed at Carnegie Hall in New York and was greeted with a standing ovation. She was so moved by her reception that she wept openly before her audience. The show was a huge success and marked Baker's comeback to the stage. All right, we're going to answer some questions based on the reading. Number one, I want you to find what made Baker so popular as a performer. Number two, why did Baker adopt so many children from around the world? And then number three, why was it important for Baker to help civil rights movements, the civil rights movement? I'm going to copy all questions over to the chat room right now so that you can refer back to them. And then I'll go back to the reading so that you can find the answers in the text. Once you've found all the answers, go ahead and raise your hand. Otherwise, we'll start discussing the answers once the time is up. All right, there are your three questions to find. And here is the text once again. Okay, let's go ahead and see if we can answer some of the questions from the text. Alice, let's start with you. What made Baker so popular as a performer?
I didn't find that.
No? Ethan?
I think it's like she had a performance like wearing a skirt with a bunch of bananas.
Yeah, so she did something that was not ever done before that made her performance unique and memorable. But also, besides that, she was also there during a time. What was popular during the time? Alice, did you see what was popular during the time?
No.
Jazz? Jazz?
Yes, American jazz music. So her being an American and also knowing jazz music and being familiar with that, that combination of something unique, but also being an American jazz singer made her stand out as someone unique and special to the French. Ethan, how about number two? Why did Baker adopt so many children from around the world?
Like she want to have a rainbow, like a rainbow family or something like maybe she likes
Yeah, and what did she mean by rainbow? Any idea what she meant by that?
like maybe they bring her happiness.
Okay, okay. It's not happiness. Any other ideas? Alice, do you any ideas what she meant by rainbow? She called them the Rainbow Coalition.
Like um many I'm not sure how to say that.
Many, can you describe it? Can you describe what you want to say, Alice?
Like rainbow has many color and maybe a color is a children is a child.
The color of the children?
Mm, uh yes.
Yes, you're absolutely right. What she meant by rainbow group was that she wanted to have people from different races. She wanted to have children from all around the world, from different parts of the world. So she adopted, and she wanted to show that people could live together, that people of different cultures, different backgrounds, different areas of the world could actually get along. That was one of her big missions and focuses in life, what she truly believed in. Now, finally, Alice, why was it important for Baker to help with the civil rights movement?
No.
Ethan,
Maybe she wanted to help them.
why?
Like maybe she um doesn't like wars.
Okay, well, the civil rights movement, do we know what this was? What was the civil rights movement? Alice, do you know?
No.
Ethan?
Like I think like is that like America had the North one and the South one?
No, that was actually that was earlier. That was a the American the American Revolution. But no, this was when it was about equal rights for people. So civil rights are the right for people to be able to vote, the right for people able to have the same opportunities as other people, not based on your race or your sex, whether you're male or female. So as we learned in the question number two, she wanted to have children from all around the world to show that people could live together. And now we see that she is fighting for civil rights, the opportunity for people to have all the same rights. So what do you think? Why do you think that was important for her? What did we learn about her in let's go back to the reading for a second, in the third and fourth paragraph. Anyone have an idea? Well, we have some phrases here that are important to understand. It says that she, in the third paragraph, Participated in demonstrations and boycotting segregated clubs and concert venues. What does it mean, boycott and segregate? Segregated. Ethan?
I don't know.
Okay. Alice?
Same as Ethan.
So to boycott something means not to give them your support, not to spend your money there. In fact, you ignore, in this case, the businesses because you don't agree with what they do. Now, segregated means to be separate. So during this time, during the United States, there were separate clubs and concert venues for white people versus black people. And she felt that this was not appropriate. This was not something that was fair. So, as she was a performer, if there was a group that wanted her to perform and they were segregated, she would not perform there. So she boycotted them. She was against it. Now, we also have this fourth paragraph where she talks about she had decades of rejection from her countrymen. Now, she was American, so her countrymen are other Americans. And she dealt with a lifetime of racism. What is racism? Alice, do you know? Do you know what racism is, Alice?
Not sure.
Ethan?
Not sure.
Racism is when people are against or do not like someone based
Right.
on their race, based on where they came from. And this was a epidemic in the United States where people were racist against certain ethnicity groups, primarily African Americans, but that also extended to people of Asian descent or Mexican descent. So she was against this, and she had experienced quite a bit of it. So we go back to our question here. Why was it important for Baker to help with the civil rights movement? The reason is because she wanted to have a world where people were all equal, that people were not racist, where people respected each other based on who they were. And there was no separation of people based on the color of their skin or where they came from. So we see this tie between her of showing with her Rainbow Coalition, the children that she adopted, that she wanted to show that people can live together in a family if they come from different places. But at the same time, she also fought against discrimination and racism in the United States. So it's very much a strong part of her belief system during her time. All right, well, we have some interesting words. Some of them you'll see here in our word list. Turning point, proposals, lend, boycotting, and standing ovation. Think about the part of speech, but I'd like for you to take two of the words and use them in a sentence. Think about the part of speech they are. Turning point being a noun, proposals being a noun, lend being a verb, boycotting being a verb, and standing ovation being a noun. See if you can create a sentence using two of the vocabulary words. Once you have your sentence, you can submit it to me privately in the chat room, and then we'll take a look at the sentences to make sure the meanings work. Okay, let's take a look at the sentences that came in. Ethan, you said a turning point of the football game lend his team victory. Okay, so on your first one, the preposition of, we actually should use in. The turning point in the football game, that works. Now, lend, we could say lend, but not in the present tense, but in the past tense, which the past tense would actually be lent. Lent his team, and we would say a victory. So as far as the use of the words, that's correct. We just had a couple of things with the tense and the prepositions, but no, that does work. Lent his team a victory. Nice. Alice, you wrote, her mother's proposal makes her life going into a turning point. Now, when you say mothers, you're talking about possession of the proposal. So her mother's apostrophe is what we want to use. And then what you're speaking about is something that already happened. So instead of saying makes, you would want to say made. But then as we look at this next part, her life going into a turning point. I understand the concept of what you're saying, but let's actually make this work a little bit better, including the verb that we use. We could say was a turning point for her. Was a turning point for her. And now this phrase works. But many times when you think about making a statement, think about the past tense, because if you're making a statement, it's something that's true. Yes, that's present simple. Something that's a habit, something that is a statement about the present. But many times, if you're creating sentences about and recounting a story or telling us about something that already happened, that's when you need to use the past tense with your verbs. Same thing for you, Ethan, when we talked about lend versus lent. Many times when we make statements about something that already happened, we need to use the past tense of it. All right, good. Now, speaking of parts of speech, verbs and such, when we look at the sentence, there are three words that are highlighted. From what I can see, the box is in the corner of the room. These three words share the same part of speech. What are they in English? What do we call these? From, in, of. Alice, any idea? Ethan, any idea?
No.
Alice?
No.
These are called prepositions. Prepositions, they allow us to say and give more information in a sentence. Now, many times prepositions, they're going to be followed by a noun, not every single time, but as we see, from what being describing something, information, in the corner, in, and then we have the corner as a noun, of the room being a noun as well. Many times when we use prepositions, we create what are called prepositional phrases, which are prepositions followed by a noun, as we can see in this situation. Now, there are There are many prepositions in English. In, on, and at are some of the most popular ones that we see, but there are many more. As you can see on this chart, above, across, after, before, between, into, onto, opposite, all of these are forms of prepositions with various different meanings to give us more information within a sentence. Now, when we think about composing a sentence, we do not break up a subject, the verb, and the direct object if we have one. Subject, verb, direct object must always stay together. So when we use prepositions, many times you'll see them either before the subject or after the object. So they sometimes can be at the beginning of the sentence or at the end of the sentence. But we must keep our subject, verb, and object together. Let's look at a few. About, across, after, along, among, behind, beside, off, since, through, under, and without. For this exercise, you have to decide which of these prepositions is the best to use. Now, before we begin, looking at that word list, raise your hand if you're not sure of the meaning of one of these prepositions. No? Okay, then let's begin. Number one, the referee ordered two players the field. Which preposition should we use? Raise your hand if you have an answer. Alice, what do you think?
Off,
Off is correct. Off the field. Yes. Ethan, take a look at number two. I could see her, the window.
Behind,
Not behind. There's another one that works actually better.
through,
Through the window. Yes. Alice, number three. He sings whenever he is the influence of alcohol. What do you think here, Alice?
um, without.
Not without. Actually, the opposite. Ethan, any idea?
no.
This is actually under the influence of alcohol. Ethan, try number four.
We have not met since um we have not met.
You said since?
Yeah.
Since, yes, since early last year. Let's try two more. Alice, she came up and sat
Um, and sat beside.
beside. That's right. And then finally, number six, Ethan.
Mm, Police want to know all behind it and are calling for witnesses.
Not behind. To know something. To know something. Alice, any idea?
The sixth one.
Number six?
Okay. Please want to know all about.
All about it. Yes. To know about something. Yes. Good. Now, let's take a look at a couple that are not actually on this list. And I want you to see if you can create a sentence using them. So choose two, either among, against, beyond, aside, or upon. Once again, think about making sure that you keep your subject, verb, and object together, but your preposition could be either at the beginning or the end of the sentence, oftentimes before a noun. Once you have your two sentences, you can submit them privately to me in the chat room, and then we'll take a look at the sentences and make sure that they're correct. Okay, let's take a look at the sentences that came in. Alice, you wrote, she is against to her brother yesterday. What did you mean by against?
Like she is the um she has opposite opinion to her brother.
Okay, I think what we need to do is we need to add that so it's more clear. She is against the opinion of her brother. Now, you said yesterday. Yesterday is in the past. So what needs to change? What do we need to change is to?
Was.
Correct. Yep. So our subject, many times when as I was saying, many times when we recount something, it's going to be in the past tense. So we have to make sure we use the past tense for our verbs. She was against the opinion of her brother yesterday. That works. I'm choosing my new tennis shoes among these two. This two is what you wrote. What we actually need here is these two. These two. These and those. These being close, those being distant. But this is singular. These is what we need. As far as the use of the preposition, that is correct. Ethan, you wrote, beyond a river is a small barn. Now, this river, is it a specific river or not a specific river? Ethan.
Not specific.
No, it is specific because you're talking about a specific place. So what you actually should use here is the river. Beyond the river is a small barn because it's a specific river where the barn is found. You wrote, upon his head wears a cowboy hat. Who wears it? Who's wearing it?
The person.
Okay, well, we need to say that. Upon his head, you could say he wore a cowboy hat. But it's similar too. No, yours actually works. It's okay if we say it in present tense. Upon his head, he wears a cowboy hat. as a statement of this is a habit for him. But we do need that he. Very good. As far as the use of the preposition, that is correct. Nice. All right, well, everyone, we have a new book for this week. The book is Flipped. Here's a little bit about the author of the book and a short description of the book. I'm going to read the description and tell me what type of genre this book is. Flipped is a romance told in two voices. The first time Julie Baker saw Bryce Losky, she flipped. The first time Bryce saw Julie, he ran. That's pretty much the pattern for these two neighbors until the 8th grade, when just as Julie is realizing Bryce isn't as wonderful as she thought, Bryce is starting to see that Julie is pretty amazing. How these two teens manage to see beyond the surface of things and come together makes for a comic and poignant romance. Let's talk about the genre. What genre do you think this book is? Ethan?
Maybe romance.
It is a romance. Uh-huh. What else? Alice, any thoughts?
No.
What is the genre that we learned about that when people are experiencing, especially around teenage years, they're experiencing things for the first time? What is the name of that genre? Where teenagers often experience things for the first time. Ethan, do you remember?
Coming of age.
Coming of age, that is correct. Yeah, coming of age. So this is a coming of age romance, and it also seems like it has a slight comedic side to it. As we see in the last paragraph, it says it makes for comic and poignant romance. So this is what we could call coming of age romantic comedy. Coming of age romantic comedy is how we would actually list this. I'm typing this in the chat room just so you have the reference point of how we would say that. It's a coming of age. Lets us know what type of people, what situations they're going to be experiencing. Romantic comedy. Now, another short word for romantic comedy. Anyone know? There's a shorter version of saying romantic comedy that we use. This is also known as a rom-com. The short version of romantic comedy is known as a rom-com. So coming of age rom-com, we could say. And that's the same that we would use for books, same thing that we would use for movies as well. Coming of age rom-com, romantic comedy, short rom-com. Very good. All right, everyone. So this week, think about our new vocabulary words that we learned. Also the meaning and the usage of how we use prepositions, where they're placed in sentences. For your writing assignment, I want you to imagine if you could build a dream house, what rooms would you have? Write no more than 400 words, and you can submit that to the forum within the next 7 days for edits. On the page afterwards, you'll find the sentences to complete with the words of the day, also the answer key to check your answer. Right now, I'll go ahead and copy over today's link to the chat room. If you'd like to get started with any of the exercises, just go ahead and click on the link and request access, and then I'll be able to grant that to you. But any questions as we wrap up for today? All right, then I will see you all next week. Have a good week. Bye now.
Have a nice week.
You too.
Have a nice day.
You too. Thank you.